Hi, Gary Stearman, and I've got some great news for you about something we're calling FutureVision 2020. Colorado Springs, June 18th through 21st, a terrific conference on Bible prophecy and also on many other subjects pertinent to today's world. Bob Ulrich is here with me, and we're going to discuss the details of FutureVision 2020.
Colorado Springs, one of our favorite places in the entire world. We've had several conferences there in the past. I'm sure many of you have attended at the beautiful Marriott Hotel in the Springs, literally right in the shadow of Pikes Peak. Summertime weather, mountains, hiking, fresh air. Summertime in the Springs is another great name for this conference, Gary. Of course, we could also call it another Watcher's Weekend.
Absolutely. We could call it another Watcher's Weekend. June 18th through 21st, it takes in the weekend, and we've got a lot planned, and we're going to share some of those plans with you. First of all, we have a number of speakers. People like Tom Horn. Everybody loves to hear Tom Horn talk. Tim Alberino. Bob, we've got a terrific lineup.
You know, when you talk about groundbreaking speakers, Tom and Tim, two of the most interesting people I think I've ever had the privilege of listening to. Of course, many of you have seen them at our past conferences. You may be familiar with Tom Horn's new work on wormwood. And boy, if that doesn't get you excited, nothing will. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Well, Bob, there is an upcoming event, and Tom is very convinced that something, of a cataclysmic nature lies in the not-too-distant future. He's written a book about it. He's very excited to talk about it, and I'm not going to name any dates, Bob. I'll let Tom do that. But what I'm saying is there's a lot happening, not just politically, not just geopolitically, not globally, but everywhere you look. Things are happening that seem to be destabilizing today's world. And one of the beautiful things about a prophecy conference is that these events are explained by a number of different people who have access to information that maybe not all of us can access. For example, Bill Koenig, Washington correspondent, and he talks about Bible prophecy through the lens, Bob, of Washington politics, if you can imagine such a thing.
I can, and then there's Bob McGinnis, a Pentagon insider who literally is up to speed on all the latest developments going on that you may not even know about. I mean, there's things happening in China today. There's a military buildup going on that is mind-blowing. You know, I'm glad you said that because I think our conference is very unusual. What makes it unique is a word we like to just call balance. We teach the Bible. We teach Bible prophecy. We teach dispensationalism. We get into the supernatural. We get into some politics. And Gary, speaking of politics, our conference is just 5 months before the next presidential election.
And, you know, politics has to do with social stability, or in this case, instability. I'm sure that all of you have, with some trepidation, watched the things that are happening in today's world, in the world of education, the street demonstrations that are going on, the hatred of Christianity, classical Christianity. And you're all asking questions. What in the world is going on? And one of the things that happens at a prophecy conference like this is that many of your questions are going to be addressed in terms of the present events laid out from the biblical perspective. And Bob, I think that's one of the things that really makes a conference like this so valuable.
It really does. You know, I've got to tell you, late last night I got a call from L.A. Marzulli, and he about came through the phone. He was so excited. Many of you may be familiar with his research on Genesis 6, his trips to Peru, some of the skulls, the elongated skulls he secured. He'd been working vigorously on identifying the DNA that have come out of those skulls, and I can't literally tell you what he told me last night, except for the fact that I've never heard him so excited about some of the directions the Lord has led him in, some of the people that he's come in contact with who are now helping him get to the point where he's never been able to get to before. Are we going to reach a point where we're actually going to have DNA of the Nephilim revealed?
DNA of the Nephilim. And by the way, those are the giants of the Old Testament. And they have everything to do with Latter-day Bible prophecy, because there will come a day when literally Hades is opened up and the world is once again swamped by horrors that we hardly dare talk about. But you know, Bob, though we do address these questions, we talk about giants, we talk about UFOs, we talk about some events that some people would call very, very strange, maybe too strange to be talked about in a church setting, for example. But that's not all we do. We also teach premillennial, pre-tribulational, dispensationalism in terms of or in the setting of today's world. And this is, I think, a valuable thing to share with other people.
You know, one of the guests we have this year, in fact, we have 10 new speakers with us this year who were not with us at the first Watchers Weekend event. But Joel Richardson is going to be with us this year.
Yeah.
Remember when the Apostle Paul was struck blind on the Damascus Road, and he went away to Arabia for a period of time.
Yeah.
Things are happening in Saudi Arabia that you may not be familiar with, but the Saudi government has opened up a lot of areas where the original Mount Sinai has been discovered, even to the point where the altar of the golden calf is literally out in the desert of Saudi Arabia, surrounded by a metal fence with warning signs to keep out. Well, somehow the Saudis have determined that this is a tourist attraction, and they are building a mega city out in the desert and attracting tourists from all over the world to come see the land where the Israelites...
And Bob, I have to interrupt because I'm so excited when I think about this. It was Midian, the land of Midian. That's where Moses fled to when he left Egypt. And he began to reside there. And of course, he met Jethro's daughters. He got married. He raised a family. And that's in northwest Saudi Arabia, where the Midianites lived. And there are all kinds of things happening there right now. And I think Joel's going to address events in what the Saudis are calling Nahum. They're going to build a new land, a new attraction. And if that isn't prophetically interesting, I don't know what is.
I can't wait to hear his presentation. I know he's actually taking tour groups over to Saudi Arabia now, but it's really expensive and I can't afford to go there. But you know what? Come to our conference and you can actually see the entire presentation yourself. You know, getting back to the nuts and bolts of Bible prophecy, Bill Salas is going to be with us.
Right.
And Bill is going to be presenting a message on the last 3.5 years of the tribulation. You know, the 7-year tribulation is divided into 2 3.5-year periods. Bill just released a book on the first 3.5 years. By conference time, June 18th through 21st, you're going to hear the second half of the tribulation when things get even worse.
You know, and things are getting worse. I hate to even say this, but there's a little bit of trepidation in the air these days. And again, a Bible conference brings to me a sense of peace and tranquility and resolution. You'll be able to meet and greet people that are just wonderfully exciting Christians, like Don Perkins, for example, and what a preacher he is. Tom Hughes, everybody loves Tom Hughes from San Jacinto, California. Larry Ollison. Larry Ollison is one of the greatest speakers, Bob, that we have discovered in late years, and he's got some messages that will really cause you to adjust your thinking a little bit. He goes into places that I just love to explore.
Well, one of the places I'm hoping he takes us this year is directly to heaven. He has a great series on the paradise of God, where he discusses, you know, what we have to look forward to in the days ahead. And Tommy Ice is going to be with us, you know, studies on the rapture, studies on Zionism and the land of Israel, areas where, you know, he is literally a world-renowned expert in these fields.
And by the way, Bob, Derek Gilbert's going to be with us. Derek works with Tom Horn, of course, and Derek has put out some really interesting material lately in the form of a couple of books. He's going to be speaking on the subject of prophecy as it is illuminated by studying ancient Assyria, ancient Babylon, and he's done a lot of research.
He has. I look at the names of some of these people like Dr. Michael Lake. And if you've never heard Dr. Lake's presentation on biblical archaeology, the Tower of Babel, the land of Shinar, he takes us places that we've never literally even thought about. I think about Carl Teichrieb. Carl Teichrieb infiltrates a lot of places that I think I'd probably be afraid to set foot in. Some of these New Age gatherings, some of these anti-Christian rallies. In fact, the last one, Carl set up a tent, and he called it the Church of the Unknown God, which is really hysterical in a way. And you can't imagine all the people who came into the tent and heard about Jesus for the first time. A man of great courage, he's going to be with us. Colorado Springs, I lived there for about 6 months in the early 1990s. It's a whole lot more crowded today. But what a beautiful place. Our conference is in June. This is summer vacation for people. The kids are out of school. Plan your vacation and spend a week in Colorado. Spend 2 or 3 days with us at the conference. Head up to Denver. Head out to beautiful western Colorado, Durango, Ouray, Ridgway, Silverton, all these beautiful places.
Bob, you can do whitewater rafting there. You can visit the Air Force Academy. That's one of the great tourist attractions in the entire United States. A lot of people stay in Colorado Springs just to see that.
Or the Olympic Training Center. You literally can go watch the Olympians practice right on site in just a beautiful location. Visit Garden of the Gods, or as I like to call it, Garden of the God. But one of the most amazing natural places that God ever created on earth. You can go hiking. Last time I was in the garden, I ran face to face with a huge deer sitting right in front of me. It's just nature.
It really is
brought to the forefront.
Indescribably beautiful there. Again, it's called FutureVision 2020. And Bob, let's close on the idea of vision. That's what prophecy study is. It's extending your vision into the future as seen through God's holy word, the Bible. And the interpretation of the Bible in terms of Bible prophecy kind of gives you a 2020 vision. It's a little play on words because we're moving into the year 2020, Bob.
Folks, if you haven't realized it yet, we're living in the last days. Gary and I just had a discussion this morning about the things going on in our country, things going on around the world. This is chaos like there's never been before.
Yeah.
The great part about a prophecy conference, you're going to be there with 800 or 900 like-minded people in a beautiful setting. You're going to hear 22 of the greatest Bible teachers in the world present messages that, above all, are going to be timely and really fascinating. It's a great opportunity to get to meet all these men, shake their hands, visit their book tables, talk to them, ask questions. Conferences are just a really enjoyable place to be.
Bob, it's June 18th through 21st in the year 2020. Somehow I feel that the year 2020 is going to be especially significant.
Well, I think maybe God has a sense of humor. 2020 vision may have a double meaning to it. You can register for the event just by going to prophecywatchers.com. You'll find a big banner up on the website. Click on the banner. It'll take you to the registration page. Give you all the information you need to know, a list of all the speakers, hotel reservations, and everything will all be there for you to find.
Bob, it's going to be wonderful. Hey, I'm Gary Stearman. You keep watching. We are. Thanks for joining us on Prophecy Watchers. You can find us on the web at prophecywatchers.com, where you can sign up for our free email newsletter. In the meantime, keep watching, everybody, and we'll see you soon.